FNaF lore. It's confusing, it's complicated, and let's be honest, it's pretty much unsolved. But I'd like to spend time and focus on that unsolved part. There's a lot of mysteries in FNaF that still aren't solved to this day. I think they're definitely worth talking about. So hello everyone. Today I thought I should just talk about FNAF's unsolved mysteries. I'm not going to go through like all of them, just a few to begin with. And if you guys really like it, I'll make more of these. But also keep in mind, this isn't like a theory video, more just like an informative video talking about what's solved and like what's not. There is still going to be some ideas and theories, but it's not mainly that. So without further ado, let's just get started. Here we go. So for our first mystery, I thought the best one to start with would be Crying Child's name. Now I know a lot of people will be commenting, oh it's already solved, it's Evan, oh it's Chris, whatever. There's those that say no. His name is still not confirmed, and those names are not even confirmed like in the slightest. I'm sure everyone knows who Crying Child is, but if you don't, he's basically like the main character of FNAF 4. He's the same kid that gets his head chomped by good old Fredbear here, but for all these years, we still don't have an official name for him, which is honestly kind of crazy. So starting off with the name Chris, that a lot of people think is the official name, it was actually just a fan name given to him by the fandom. It seems to have grown in popularity a bit too much. That's literally all I can find in the name. There is zero proof that Chris is actually his name. Now for Evan on the other hand, a Reddit user by the name of Wolfie1740 actually had a proof and reasoning for it. And I'll quickly shorten it and try to explain it for you guys. So he brings us back all the way to the survival logbook. I'm not sure if you guys remember that one, it's pretty old. And using the Foxy alphabet grid here, he got the page numbers from where Cassidy would ask a question and Crying Child would answer them on. So then going in order that the Crying Child's answers would appear, he then used the Foxy alphabet grid. And if you put them, oh my god, I'm explaining this horribly. And if you put like the page numbers where Crying Child answers in order, you get Evan. I will link his whole explanation in the description because I'm obviously terrible at explaining. Now this isn't a bad theory, definitely not hating on it or anything, I could not come up with anything better than this for sure. But the pieces in this just don't really fit quite right. Like he mentions, there's blood on the pages with Crying Child's answers, but there's a blood on a lot of pages, not just those ones. And also some of the answers to the questions were a bit off. I don't know, like the whole thing does seem like a bit like random, but I can see why people still think it's an official name. It is a really good theory. But to give my final opinion on the whole thing, I do still believe his name is just Crying Child. Until we have more definitive proof or just a direct call from Scott himself, I'm still gonna stick with like CC or Crying Child. Now I'm gonna get an opinion from a viewer to listen to their thoughts on the mystery. Also quick shout out to all the channel members in this video, because every single viewer that I'm picking here is a channel member, so if you want to be in a future video, make sure to become a member. Okay, so what do you think Crying Child's real name is?
Honestly, I think it's Evan, as proven by the logbook.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it was an official book from Scott, and it was, I think it's part of the lore, so I think it's Evan.
It was that one Reddit user that got like this whole theory down on how like using the logbook and like the Foxy, like the Foxy word search thing.
Yeah. And then I think game theory also added on to that.
Yes.
And proved it more, so.
Yeah. There is some pieces that don't really fit in, but I don't know.
It has the most pieces.
It does have yeah, you're right, yeah. It does have most pieces, so that's fair enough. For the next mystery, I decided to go with the Bite of 87. Unlike the Bite of 83, the Bite of 87 doesn't show any cutscene or really anything. The only mention we have of it was a phone call of the first night of FNAF 1.
They used to be allowed to walk around during the day too, but then there was the Bite of 87. Yeah, it's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe, you know?
The bite does take place during FNAF 2 and not FNAF 1 though, so don't get that confused. Obviously everyone knows that the Bite of 83 was Fredbear. We can clearly see him bite Crying Child, and we know it was 1983 based on the TV show here. But the Bite of 87 victim wasn't a kid, it was actually the day shift guard. There's a lot of theories going around for who did it. People believe it was one of the toy animatronics like Toy Bonnie or Toy Chica even, but others, including myself, think it was Mangle. I personally think it's Mangle because we know how messed up Mangle is. It's not a stable animatronic, and I can for sure see him malfunctioning and just like chomping down on a security guard by mistake. Then again, I can see how it's a toy animatronic due to their facial recognition and being like messing up and thinking that the day shift guard was a threat. But let's get a second opinion from a viewer to see what they think. Who do you think did the Bite of 87, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I would definitely say Mangle. That's, in my opinion, the one that seems most logical.
Yeah, okay. That's was my exact reasoning too. Did you have anything else to add to that, or?
I mean, I would say, like, it seems like she would be the only, first of all, I think she was the only one active.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other ones were locked in parts and services, if I'm correct. And Mangle also was one of the ones, like, sort of if you're assuming the robot would want to have a reason for attacking someone, Mangle was one that was being taken apart and put back together all the time, so maybe some sort of causation there. Should me getting angry about that. I don't know if that's a probable, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, yeah, that makes sense. That could definitely be a reason. I can see that. Yeah. Is that it, or?
I mean, I think so. Yeah, like I said, I think the other ones were in parts and services at the time.
I believe so, actually. Yeah.
I mean, and I know some people say Foxy.
Oh yeah.
But because of the out of order sign.
Oh, good
But
point.
I don't think they would even keep him if he did that. Like, because Mangle wasn't even in the second location, presumably because of the bite of 87.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. And for the final mystery of the video, I really want to talk about the Shadow Animatronics. The Shadow Animatronics consist of two animatronics. There's Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie, or his official name is RWQ-FSF-ASXE. I'm just gonna use RWQ for short, so I don't have to say that whole thing every time. They both first appear as an Easter egg in FNaF 2, and looking at either one of them would actually cause your game to crash. I thought they would just be like simple Easter eggs at the time, but we later then see them in other FNaF games. We see them both in the minigame of FNaF 3. They're both playable characters in FNaF World. RWQ appears as a secret character in Alternate Custom Night. RWQ appears as a cardboard cutout in both Hub Warden and Security Breach. And finally, RWQ appears again when you collect too much Remnant in FNaF AR. So they clearly have like a deeper meaning, but I just don't know what. Just because Shadow Freddy isn't as relevant as RWQ, I'm pretty sure he still has a pretty big role. Now there is countless theories on this topic. As I look up theories for this, the most common one I see is like they are like the Shadow and like ghost versions of Fredbear and Spring Bonnie due to how much agony each suit has. Now while this does like make sense, I don't believe it's the case. I've also seen a few people mention that since there's a lot of deaths in the FNaF universe, there's a lot of Remnant to go with that. And in FNaF AR, if you collect too much Remnant, RWQ shows up. So maybe collecting or having too much Remnant will cause Shadow Animatronics to appear as like a hallucination maybe? This theory is also not too bad. But I do strongly believe it is something to do with agony though. I don't remember which one, but I'm almost certain that one of the FNaF books mentions the Shadow Animatronics are made up of agony. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost certain it's mentioned somewhere in the books. But yet again, let's get an opinion from a viewer to get some more ideas. So yeah, what's your take on the Shadow Animatronics?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's kind of weird how Shadow Bonnie has appeared throughout multiple games. Like we see him in FNaF 2 and FNaF World, which was originally going to be canon. And then he's also in UCN, where we only see Freddy once. And so I honestly, it makes me more intrigued about who what is Shadow Freddy more than Shadow Bonnie, because we understand that like he has an actual name now, RQW.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But no, you never see anybody talk about Shadow Freddy, and he's just so much more ominous. I think you were right about the agony.
Yeah.
Though we also don't know where Sister Location is in the timeline, and wasn't that the Scooper's purpose? So if Sister Location was after FNaF 2 or FNaF 1, whatever, when we first see the Shadow Animatronics, then how are they made up of agony? And there's a lot of questions to it.
Yeah.
It's honestly really confusing. I mean, honestly, I'd have to agree with you. I think it's the agony, unless Sister Location takes place after FNaF 2, and well, because we know it takes place after 3.
Yeah.
Or before 3, I mean. Or maybe I honestly, I don't know. The timeline's so confusing.
The timeline, yeah.
But that's pretty much all I have to say. Yeah, the Shadow Animatronics are just, I love them, but we need more questions answered about them.
So that wraps up all the mysteries that we're talking about in this video. There are definitely more out there, like what's in the FNaF 4 box, or like who Miss Afton really is, or something like that. But I just need I need to get this video out. So let me know if you guys want a part 2, and I'll definitely do it for sure. So thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more FNaF content. Bye.